Have you ever wondered about the origins of sibling rivalry? It's a question that's lingered in the minds of many, and today we delve into its roots, all the way back to the dawn of humanity. We journey into the pages of the Good Book, to the biblical account of the first family, where we find Adam and Eve living in the paradise of Eden. From this first couple came their first two sons, Cain and Abel. Cain, the elder, was a tiller of the ground, working diligently with the soil to bring forth its bounty. Abel, the younger, was a shepherd, leading his flock through the green pastures of their world. Two brothers, each with his own calling, each with his own purpose. But as we will see, their divergent paths would lead to a clash of desires and a rift that would echo through history. And thus, the stage was set for one of the earliest and most tragic tales of sibling rivalry. Cain and Abel, though brothers, were as different as day and night. Just as their personalities contrasted, so too did their chosen occupations. Cain, the elder of the two, found solace in the soil. He worked the land diligently, tilling the earth, planting seeds, and reaping the fruits of his labor. He was a farmer, a cultivator of the ground, and the fruits of the soil were his pride and joy. On the other hand, Abel, the younger sibling, was drawn to the pastoral life. Guiding his flock through the verdant meadows under the wide open sky, he found his purpose. He was a shepherd, a caretaker of sheep. His bond with his flock was profound, and the firstborn of his sheep were considered the most precious. When the time came to make an offering to God, both brothers brought forth the fruits of their labor. Cain offered some of the fruits of the soil, a tribute to his hard work and dedication. Abel, on the other hand, offered the best portions of the firstborn from his flock, a sacrifice marking his deep respect and devotion. But God, in his divine wisdom, saw more than just the offerings. He saw the heart behind the gift. Abel's offering, the best of his flock, was a testament to his faith and love for God. It was received with favor. Cain's offering, while substantial, did not hold the same level of reverence. It failed to find favor in God's eyes. This divine preference stirred the pot of discord between the brothers. The seeds of jealousy started to sprout within Cain's heart. The resentment began to build, slowly but surely. It was not just about the offerings anymore. It was about recognition, about acceptance, about the desire to be seen and favored. It was the beginning of a conflict that would change their lives forever. The tension between Cain and Abel was more than a sibling rivalry. It was a clash of values, a test of faith, and a harbinger of a tragic fate that awaited them. The seeds of jealousy, once planted, can grow into a dangerous tree. No truer words could be spoken about Cain, whose heart was fertile ground for such a tree to take root. After his offering was rejected, Cain, the tiller of the ground, found himself in the throes of a bitter resentment. His heart, once filled with love for his brother and devotion to God, became a dwelling place for jealousy. An emotion as old as time itself, jealousy began to gnaw at the edges of Cain's spirit, distorting his perception and filling him with a dark discontent. In the midst of this emotional turmoil, God, in his infinite wisdom, reached out to Cain. He warned him about the destructive power of sin, cautioning that it was crouching at his door, eager to ensnare him. God's words were not a threat but a plea, a divine attempt to guide him away from the path he was so dangerously treading. Yet Cain, blinded by his jealousy, chose to ignore this divine warning. His heart, hardened by resentment, became deaf to God's words of wisdom. He was like a ship lost at sea, with the compass in his hand, but refusing to follow its direction. The confrontation between Cain and Abel was inevitable. Like a volcano waiting to erupt, Cain's anger simmered beneath the surface until it could no longer be contained. The fields that once heard the peaceful sound of their labor now became the silent witness to Cain's rage. In the solitude of the fields, away from any prying eyes, Cain lashed out. His anger, fueled by jealousy, found its outlet in a confrontation with Abel, his brother, his blood. Words were exchanged, voices were raised, and in the end, Cain's anger proved to be fatal. In a fit of rage, Cain committed an act that would mark him forever. The first act of violence in human history, setting a precedent for the countless others that would follow. And all because of jealousy, a seed that once planted grew into a dangerous tree. The repercussions of our actions often echo far beyond what we can foresee. In the wake of Abel's tragic demise, the world witnessed a divine justice like no other. God, in his infinite wisdom and supreme justice, placed a punishment upon Cain that was as unique as it was severe. Unlike a mortal judge, God's verdict was not confined to the physical realm, but extended to the very soul of Cain. Cain was condemned to be a restless wanderer on the earth, a life of ceaseless toil and never-ending exile. Yet, even in this dire punishment, God's mercy was evident. Aware of the danger Cain faced from others seeking revenge for Abel, God placed a protective mark on him. This mark of Cain was not a brand of shame, but a divine decree of protection, a clear sign to all that the bearer was under the protection of the Almighty himself. To harm Cain was to invoke the wrath of God, a risk no mortal would dare to take. Banished from his home and family, Cain found himself in the land of Nod, east of Eden. The name Nod itself means wandering, a poignant reminder of Cain's eternal sentence. This wasn't merely a geographical displacement, but a spiritual one. Cain was separated from the presence of God, a punishment far more severe than any physical suffering. Yet, even in his punishment, Cain was not completely abandoned. God, in his mercy, allowed Cain to build a city, to have a family, to create a life within his wandering. This serves as a reminder that even in our worst moments, God's grace can still reach us. The story of Cain and Abel is a powerful testament to the gravity of our actions and the consequences they bear. It is a sobering reminder that our choices not only affect us, but echo throughout generations. Cain was left to wander, a marked man bearing the weight of his actions. With every step he took, every stone he laid in building his city, every glance at his children, he was reminded of the brother he lost, the life he could have had, and the mercy of a just God. Every story, especially one as ancient as this, carries a lesson for us all. The tale of Cain and Abel, two of the earliest figures in biblical history, is no exception. This narrative, imbued with moral instruction, holds a mirror to our own lives, reflecting the virtues and vices we grapple with daily. Firstly, let's delve into the perils of jealousy and unchecked anger. Cain's intense jealousy towards his brother Abel and the unchecked anger that followed led to a series of devastating consequences. This story serves as a stark reminder that these powerful emotions, if not managed, can drive us to actions we might regret. It nudges us to take a step back, to reassess our feelings and responses, and to strive for emotional maturity. The story also highlights the repercussions of our actions. Cain had to bear the consequences of his deeds, living as a restless wanderer on earth. This is a potent illustration of the universal law of cause and effect. It emphasizes that our actions have weight, have impact, and that we must bear the results, whether good or bad. The narrative beckons us to tread thoughtfully, to act responsibly, knowing that we will reap what we sow. Another significant lesson from this ancient tale is the importance of sincerity in our offerings. Abel's offering was accepted because it was given with a sincere heart, while Cain's was rejected due to his lack of sincerity. This emphasizes the value of authenticity and heartfelt giving, whether it be in our daily interactions, our work, or our spiritual practices. It invites us to live and give from a place of authenticity, sincerity, and love. Furthermore, the story of Cain and Abel underscores the importance of treating others with kindness and respect. Abel, the innocent party, paid the ultimate price for his brother's resentment. This tragic outcome serves as a warning against the destructive power of resentment and the importance of fostering harmonious relationships. It reminds us to treat others as we would like to be treated, to cultivate empathy and understanding, and to resolve conflicts peacefully. Lastly, the narrative cautions us against the destructive power of resentment. Resentment is like a fire that consumes us from within, damaging our relationships and our peace of mind. The story encourages us to let go of resentment, to forgive, and to seek reconciliation, for resentment only breeds conflict and suffering. And so, the story of Cain and Abel serves as a timeless reminder of the consequences of our actions and the importance of love over envy. Let us take these lessons to heart, striving to live with sincerity, kindness, and respect, understanding the weight of our actions and managing our emotions wisely. For in doing so, we not only enrich our own lives but also contribute to a more harmonious world.